In lieu of me giving an address to you, we've decided that being unwise, I'm honored tonight to do something a little different. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to call on Attorney Melissa Bateman Hively to give us a perspective on what the Jewish Federation means to the entire Hively family. And I welcome her, and I'm confident that you're going to find this to be a very, very interesting presentation. Thank you. Very well. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Bateman. I've been nominated to the JCC board. I currently sit on the JCE board as a parent representative, and I'm actively involved in the Child Development Center's PTA. For those of you who don't know who I am or don't know my family, I'm married to attorney Aaron Hively. We have 3 children, Tress, Blythe, and Ezra. We are members of Congregation Road of Shalom, and we live in New Middletown, Ohio. Though, if you've seen me around here, you probably actually think I live in the JCC. When Aaron and I started our family, I worked from home, and we had a nanny come into our house 3 days a week. 5 years ago, when Tress was 2.5 and Blythe was 1, I decided I wanted to go back to the office full-time. In order to do that, we had to find competent, quality daycare. That is when we discovered Youngstown Area Jewish Federation and its agencies. Although neither Aaron and I nor I grew up in this community, we were instantly welcomed with open arms to its enriching environment. During the past 5 years, we have formed lasting friendships with many of the young Jewish families, and we consider ourselves to be very fortunate to call the Youngstown Area Jewish community our home. This community has a vibrant young family community that takes advantage of the diverse programming offered by the Youngstown Area Jewish Federation and its agencies. The best way I can inform you of all the programs is to tell you a typical day in the life of the Hively family. Our day starts at 5:30 a.m. when Ezra wakes up. The kids have breakfast, we get ready for school and daycare, and then Aaron and I schlep them from New Middletown to Youngstown JCC. We drop Tress and Blythe off at Akiva Academy, where Tress is a first grader and Blythe is a kindergartner. Ezra gets dropped off at the JCC. He's in the 2-year-old room and is preparing to start preschool. Aaron and I continue our day with a workout in the exercise facilities and using the JCC facilities to get ready for work. When I'm at work, I don't worry about my children. I don't worry about their safety or their educational instruction because I know they're in capable hands. Plus, there are so many additional programs available to them that there is no time for boredom. Ezra, in addition to regular Child Development Center curriculum of gymsters and music, also gets private swim lessons once a week. Aaron and I have the opportunity to authorize an instructor from the aquatics department to take him from his class and then return him from class after his lesson. Tress and Blythe are enrolled in the Kids Connection after school program at the JCC. They get picked up from Akiva by their Kids Connection teacher, and they get to do their homework, art projects, cooking classes, and free swim. 2 days a week, they also participate in the JCC's swim team, and 1 day a week, they do children's yoga at the JCC. On days that Akiva is closed, Kids Connection is open all day long for daycare. The JCC offers special programming during these days, such as Sip and Shabbat and Sip and Paint, which are not wine, but hot chocolate and painting classes. Though sometimes I'm sure I'd like them to have wine to chill them out a little bit. All this occurs while I'm at work, and I don't have to leave work to take them from one place to another place. And this happens because there's such great cooperation levels between the JCC and the Federation and all the departments. I can authorize an instructor to pick my child up from Kids Connection or the CDC, take them to a program, and then return them back to either the Kids Connection or the CDC. Without this option, my kids would not get to participate in many of the activities because I would not be able to leave work or to take time off. Following our work day, my husband and I pick up the kids from the JCC. Probably 3 nights a week, we schlep back home, eat dinner, and read PJ Library books at the end of the night. PJ Library, for those of you who don't know, is a program funded by the Federation that sends free Jewish children's books to families from ages 6 months to 8 years old. And these books arrive every month. PJ Library Stories help our family talk together about Jewish values, tradition, and culture, which is very important to us. At least one night a week, there is a program being offered here at the JCC that either is sponsored by the Federation and/or the JCC that we want to attend as a family, or Aaron and I want to attend as a couple, and that's what we call date night in our household. A few programs we have attended in the last 6 months have been Youngstown Celebrates Israel, multiple PJ library programs, Shalem educational and cooking programs, Israel Independence Day celebration, Young Jewish Adults Israeli Breakfast for Dinner, Young Jewish Women's Painting Clash, Young Jewish Men Poker Night, and family pool parties that have been put on by the JCC Aquatics Department. During many of the adult programs, free or minimal cost babysitting is offered to make it easier for us parents to attend. The above are just some of the programs that are offered. Other programs that my family would like to participate in, if we could make more hours in the day, are guitar lessons, youth exercise, basketball skills, Liz Rubino Studios, and baking with Emily. This represents a typical day or week in our life, and is actually very typical for all the young Jewish families in the Youngstown area. The young Jewish families in Youngstown are vibrant, and we're dedicated to being active in our local Jewish community, and we are very thankful for all the Youngstown Area Jewish Federation does for us and its agencies offer to us and to our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the matters that you discussed that I think brought home to a lot of the people here who may not be aware of all the things that are going on among the younger Jewish members of our community. In addition to which, I want to thank you and your husband because not only are you adding a lot to our community, but you're also adding a lot to the legal community here in the Mahoning Valley, and we're glad to have you here. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Howie Begelman. His professional expertise is at the intersection of nonprofit advocacy and Jewish communal affairs. As Executive Director of Ohio Jewish Communities, he is the voice of the state's Jewish community, lobbying for the concerns in both Columbus and Washington, D.C. on issues ranging from safety and security, health and long-term care, community services to the aging, employment and job training, and non-public schools. He also educates elected officials and policymakers on key public affairs issues, including support for Israel, divestment from Iran, combating BDS, and Holocaust remembrance. An attorney by training and education, he got his real start in politics by serving as Deputy Research Director for New York Governor George Pataki. His 2002 re-election, termed by ABC News as the best-run campaign in America that cycle. He later served in the Pataki administration as part of the press and communication shop, including time as a speechwriter. In 2005, he joined the Orthodox Union, an international nonprofit, as founding state affairs professional at its nonpartisan public policy arm, then known as the Institute for Public Affairs and now OU Advocacy, where he increased the OU's political footprint in state houses and legislatures across North America. There he also staffed interfaith dialogue with the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Howie has a JD from Georgetown University, where his two favorite professors were Rabbi David Saperstein, now Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, and the late human rights activist, Father Robert Drinan. Howie earned his undergraduate degree in history from Yeshiva University. We are proud and pleased and excited to have you here tonight, Howie. Please address us.
Wish my mother could have heard that. But I do actually have one wish right now. I wish all the folks in New York who said to me, Ohio? You're moving to Ohio? There are Jews in Ohio? could see this right now. I wish they could have heard that, what we just heard. I wish they could hear and see and touch the vibrant Jewish life that's here. The synagogues, Akiva, Levy Gardens, Heritage Manor, Manhattan's Heart, the Federation, Jewish Family Services, the JCC, Israel Advocacy, Holocaust Commemoration, and of course my favorite, the JCRC. I wish they could see the other Jewish organizations and the Jewish commitment beyond our own community, to the charities, the nonprofits, and the civic groups. They're the backbone of any place we like to call home. And I'll admit, in case my accent or the speed of my cadence doesn't give it away, I was once one of those New Yorkers. I probably kind of found Ohio on a map. We tend to think in New York there's a great big gaping hole right after the George Washington Bridge. On the other side is Los Angeles. This is actually a true story. I was once flying to Omaha, Nebraska, and we had a stopover in Milwaukee. I texted a friend of mine who lived in Detroit, and I said, "What's this really big body of water out here by the airport?" He said that's Lake Michigan. But then you come out here, and you see the quality of life, job opportunities, the cost of housing, the commuting time, and the quality of the commute. It took me about 2.5 hours to get here. In New York, in rush hour, it's about 15 blocks. And you see the quality of the community, the Midwestern nice, and the openness of the Jewish community. I know Bonnie and Andy and Debbie are all also from New York, and I know that they know understand what I'm saying. What you have here is special, and you should not take that for granted. I don't. And what's true here is true across Ohio. The Jewish federations here are 8 strong. There are 8 communities speaking with one voice. We are not uniform, but we are united. We're united in facing some pretty tough issues. The number one issue we're facing right now, here, in Israel, and around the world, is keeping Jews safe. We need to protect our buildings and defend our people. We're looking at Muslim radicals and at white supremacists, at right-wing xenophobes and left-wing anarchists. We are working right now, I wish I had news, I don't, but hope to have soon, looking to try and get funding for certain things that would help protect our community, target hardening, personnel, increased partnerships, law enforcement. I will just tell you this, that we have a great friends and great partnerships already with our leadership in the state government who are working with us. And I hope to report something relatively soon. Next, of course, is the attack on Jewish legitimacy. BDS, the shutting down of free speech and of debate, has happened with Natan Sharansky and with Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat recently, at opposite ends of the country at 2 different universities, is appalling. It's also worrisome. And that's why the work we're doing to combat BDS is so important, because we have to, besides the other work we do for Israel, we need to showcase economic development and partnerships that we have with them, and show an important and positive side of the U.S.-Israel relationship. We have a bill in Columbus right now that would deny state contracts to companies that engage in BDS. It's at a committee in a 9-to-1 bipartisan vote. I'm proud to say we have the support of the entire Jewish caucus in the Ohio General Assembly, all 2 of them. But our support goes way beyond that, to the Speaker and the Minority Leader, and really a large bipartisan group of sponsors. And we're working now to get it in shape. Hopefully, the next 4 hours, they're gone for the summer. And we're going to get it in shape so we can, after recess, we can head back with a bill that can go to the House floor and then to the Senate and then to the governor. This is the kind of work, and it's the heart of what you're doing locally through the JCRC and your laying professional leadership. And you do that through the C in JCRC, the first C, community relations, community and intergroup relations. You build long-term relationships, and you do it in part by caring about issues that are not our own. But of course, some of the issues are issues we care deeply about. We are vigilant in protecting our own freedoms, our Bill of Rights. For us and for other minorities, we realize it doesn't always start with us. It often does. But it always ends with the Jews. It doesn't end well, unfortunately, sometimes. And we're working on that always, and we're always vigilant in Columbus and in D.C. on issues like that. We're also looking at issues that directly help or hurt our bottom line and those of our agencies. Medicaid and Medicare is approximately 90% of the funding for most long-term care facilities in the state that are nonprofit, certainly the Jewish ones. Only about 10% of their income is private pay insurance. So we're working on making sure that comes in the right way, in the right funding. It means dollars for Heritage Manor. It means funding for JFS. And there's regulations, but beyond legislation, even the small stuff, making sure, for instance, that Holocaust reparations do not impact someone's eligibility for Medicaid. And we're also looking at tax and education policies, at employment policies, employment funding, tax policies like IRA rollover for charities, foundation tax credits, donor advised fund rollover to IRAs, and things like education tax credits, energy tax credits. Long-term care policies, certainly. These are the things that help the Federation and the endowment raise more dollars to help more people. Or they do things like ensure that Akiva can get every child who wants an education that deserves it. And finally, we do this all by maintaining our influence in a bipartisan arena, in a politically toxic environment. Not one party is ours. My predecessor used to say that her political party was Jewish. We need the support of everybody, or most everybody, on every issue. That's what we do. A little bit of the how. Number one is the relationships that you build here at the local level. And you should be proud that as a community you're punching way above your weight class. That's thanks to your fantastic team here, Bonnie Deutsch-Berman and Andy Lipkin. We know that from the IDF that strength and success are not measured in numbers, but in passion and a bit of chutzpah. These two have it in spades. And the next time that someone asks you what the place or mission is of a smaller Jewish community, you tell them the relationships that Bonnie's built here. And those of her colleagues have built in Toledo and Dayton and Akron and Canton. Not to mention Columbus and Cincinnati, and that small community down the road that has a few professional sports teams. Remember to, and remind everyone, that almost none of the leadership in the Ohio General Assembly are from Jewish areas. Remember and remind them that term limits keep changing our elected officials. Remember and remind them that Ohio as a state has a lot to do with Jews and Jewish rights and with Israel. And remember and remind them that most of the members of our Congress started in the State House. And always remember and always remind them that it was Eddie Jacobson, a haberdasher from Kansas City, who got Harry Truman to buck his own State Department and recognize the State of Israel. Eddie Jacobson Bonnie's had quite a few amazing role models. One, my predecessor, Joyce Garver Keller, passed not long ago, but I can tell you that her influence still moves and shakes Ohio politics. She called herself a modern-day Queen Esther. There are many models like that in our history, starting with Abraham, who taught us, as he lobbied for Sodom and Gomorrah, it's not about the people, it's about the issues. And on to Joseph, and later, the great Spanish rabbi Don Isaac of Barbanel, who was finance minister to Ferdinand and Isabella, until he chose expulsion with his people over special treatment by his king and queen. We're lucky today, here in Ohio, at the national level, to have Jewish cabinet secretaries and staffers in both Democratic and Republican administrations. Then we had Moses, who was an outsider, looking in and shaking his fist for justice and right against the mightiest empire in the world. We've had Baron Rothschilds and Chaim Weizmanns. We had Eddie Jacobsons, and we had Rabbi Heschels, who pray with their feet for what was right. And of course, today we have a state of Israel that we advocate for, but also on the flip side advocates for and defends us. So that's the how. And now the question is why. My father was a Holocaust survivor. We talk politics all the time. We didn't usually agree. Sometimes we agree on politics, not on policy. Sometimes it was the opposite. Because you see, for my dad, there was only one question that mattered. Is it good for the Jews? He didn't care about the Constitution, and he didn't care about long-term policy implications, and he didn't care about fairness or equality. He just cared about Jews. Don't get me wrong, he loved this country, and he loved what it did for him, and he loved that after years of hiding in the forests of Europe, his children and grandchildren could wear kippah proudly, and their greatest worry was a curse word of being spit at. But I could never get him to understand that that was because of our freedoms here under the law. But he and I did agree on one thing. The work I get to do, and that we do, is unique in the world. Because I can tell you this, there are no missions to Damascus or to Tehran or Moscow or even Paris. We here in Ohio and across America, we can press our elected officials, we can contribute money and time and sweat to change policy and to change politicians. We should never forget this privilege. On behalf of those we advocate for in our community, beyond, here in Ohio and across the world, I pray we never will. I hope we find ways to make sure the next generation of Jewish leaders knows it too, and that they work within our community to help advance policy and to elevate politics. I look forward to working with you and your partner federations and JCRCs across Ohio to strengthen our communities, grow them, and speak for them to those in power. To speak with trust, speak with candor, and with the necessary chutzpah. We're your partners. I know I can always reach out to the team here. I hope you'll reach out to me and to our team at Ohio Jewish Communities. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Oh, okay. I don't have any questions. Are there any questions, please?
Must have said it all.
Thank you. Thank you. I truly want to thank Howie. The schlep up here may be like going cross town in New York, but it's still not a fun drive. And he's here. He's been here a couple times. We are happy to have him here. We're happy to have him come back. Anytime he chooses to, he's welcome here in Youngstown. And his comments were inspirational, informative, and quite welcome. Thank you. I want to note the significant growth of Jewish Federation endowment funds over the past few years and extend my appreciation on behalf of the board to all those who have contributed to that growth. I would like to recognize the entire Endowment Fund Committee and Chairman Bruce Sherman. The Endowment Memorial Service was first held at the 1993 annual meeting and is held to honor the memory of those contributors and their families who had the forethought to endow the Federation's future. A handout is placed on each of the chairs tonight to honor the memory of the men and women who, in loving kindness, made gifts or left a legacy to the Youngstown Area Jewish Federation or its endowment fund. I now call upon Rabbi Joseph Schoenberger from Temple El Emeth to lead the endowment memorial service.
We see the meaningful words in our endowment memorial service. So I'll ask everyone to join me in reading these words. As my fathers planted for me before I was born, so I plant for those who come after me. We honor the memory of the following men and women who in loving kindness made a gift or left a legacy to the Youngstown Area Jewish Federation or its endowment fund. Let's take a moment of silence to remember and to be inspired by the memory of these wonderful people. Please stand. El Malei Rachamim Shochen Bamromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina B'malot Kedoshim Utohorim Kezohar Harakia Masirim Et Nishmot Kol Balei Tzedaka Anashim Nashim Shehalku La'olamam Began Eden Tei Menuchatam Ana Bal Rachamim Astirem Beseitek Nafecha Le'olamim Utror Bitzror Chaim Et Nishmoteihem Adonai Hu Nachalatam V'yanuchu B'shalom Al Mishkvoteihem V'nomar Amen. El Malei Rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure to the souls of our beloved and dear men and women, Ba'alei Tzedakah, generous souls who have made a difference for our community and made it possible for us to have such a wonderful community and federation, and who are in their eternal home. Embraced by God, merciful one, we ask that our loved ones find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May their souls be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May they rest in peace, and we say, Amen. As we read in our pamphlets, the fruit of their deeds shall be the true monument of righteous souls. May our actions enhance the memory of our dearly departed for blessings, for the welfare of our families, and for the Jewish people. The world, we are fortunate to have the legacy of not only the dreams of those who have passed on, but also the continuing dynamic legacy created by those who are honored today, by the many people in our community who care, and by the impact all of you have had on the new generations that continue this work not only here, but in other communities. It is following the example of those who were with us and those who continue to be with us that we continue with emunah, with faith in tomorrow. In that spirit, we continue to believe in people, to believe in humanity, to believe in ourselves and our community for what we stand for and what we work for the future, for virtue, for justice, for fellowship and sharing. With your help, we can continue making a difference and knowing that what we do today can change tomorrow. We thank God for guiding those in our community in the past and continuing to guide those here today for the present and for the future. And we join together in saying, Amen.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. I want to thank all of you, and I want to particularly thank those who participated in this annual meeting. I thank and congratulate all of those who were award winners. I would like to make a few brief announcements, but I'd also like to acknowledge Sarah Lowry is here tonight on behalf of Sherrod Brown, and we welcome her, and please send our best to Senator Brown. He's certainly, on my personal feeling, one of my favorite people. He's a great guy, and we appreciate you being here. I would like to announce that the JCC's annual Susie Solomon Golf Classic will be held on June 13th at the Avalon Golf and Country Club Squaw Creek Golf Course. All community members are invited to participate. If you're not able to golf or embarrassed by it or whatever, please join us for dinner at 6 p.m. Contact Sandy Kessler for details with regard to that. I would like to invite all of you to Sandy Kessler's retirement party on June 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. It will be taking place at the JCC in the multipurpose room. Contact Jen McNeil for more information. On June 19th at 3 p.m., we will have the premiere of the Henry Canast Holocaust Traveling Exhibit and documentary film. We're going to have to develop a short form for that. This project was generously underwritten by the Canast, Anderson, Levy, and Malkoff families and is free and open to the public. For more information, contact Bonnie Bergman. It is going to be well worth your time to see that. I would like everyone to save the date. The 2016 inaugural event will be September 8th at the Dior Center in downtown Youngstown. Our guest speakers this year are from the Joint Distribution Committee. We will be hearing from longtime leader Will Recant, as well as a recent recipient of JDC services in the Ukraine. I want to thank everybody for attending and all the folks who came here for this event. We're very satisfied. We're very excited about the attendance tonight, your participation, and your support. And I now want to also welcome you to have dessert, and you'll still be able to see some basketball. Thank you very, very much.